Yo, welcome to the show, BroMob. We're your hosts, Chad and Bryan. Today is Wednesday, October 16th, and you know what that means. We're going over our sleepers, we're going over our busts, our streaming options, and of course, those ever so valuable start and sits for Week 7. Welcome to the show. Bryan, how you doing? Get off your phone. We're recording a live session right now. Don't even know what you're doing with your hands.
What time is it?
It's a little late.
Where am I?
Keep me up late doing things.
Who are you? No, I was looking at all the success I had this season so far. I'm 6-0 in this league, 4-2 in this league.
Not so good in others. Looking bad.
3-3 in this one. 1-5. That's not my team.
I'm not going to mention that. We're going to edit that out. Take that out of there.
Pretty sure I don't own that. Anyway, all right, moving on. Hey.
Yeah, moving on. Hey, what's up? Man, I was just watching something online. Bryan, have you seen, they are remaking, and I'm not even kidding about this, they are remaking the Dr. Dolittle movie with Robert Downey Jr. as Robert, not as Robert Downey Jr., as Dr. Dolittle. I don't understand. Is Hollywood just, have they ran out of ideas? What are they?
I'm confused. Is Dr. Dolittle Robert Downey Jr. or not?
Yeah.
You confused the daylights out of me.
No, Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Dolittle in this movie.
I'm also watching right now, as we speak, one of the Bears guys, you know, the Bears with the mustache.
Bear guy.
Yeah, Chicago Bear guy.
Hey, Bear guy.
Bob Swirsky, that's his name, super fan. Literally just choked on a chicken wing. And they were trying to resuscitate him. So best Chicago name ever, Bob Swirsky.
Bob Swirsky.
Any skis at the end is a great Chicago name.
It's so true. It sounds just like one. It's perfect. But yeah, Dr. Dolittle, Bryan, I'm telling you, Hollywood's getting lazy. They're getting bored. Of all the movies you can reboot, Dr. Dolittle, that's what they're going with. Eddie Murphy is pissed off somewhere right now.
Psh, Murphy.
Psh, Murphy.
Make a movie about Bob Swirsky.
Now that's a movie I'd watch. A guy just choking on chicken wings.
I want to watch that movie.
Talking about the Bears, the Bulls. All right, let's get into some real good ideas, though. We got a lot to talk about, BroMob. Let's get into the show. Be sure to follow along after the show by following us on Twitter and Instagram at FF Podcast. And be sure to follow that hashtag BroMob on Twitter, everywhere. It's got a whole lot of information there for you to kind of grab onto, some news, updates, shenanigans, bad bets by Bryan, bad bets by me. Good times. So search it up. Let's get into the show.
Chad, really quick before we get started, I just want to remind BroMob, 4 teams on bye this week. We've got the Steelers, the Browns, the Buccaneers, and the Panthers all on bye this week. So if you have any players on those 4 teams, make sure you get them on your bench. Don't have them in your starting lineup. They're going to give you nothing. And then also Thursday night's game, Chiefs, Broncos. If you have any Chiefs or Broncos players, we're going to talk a little bit about those guys today. You're going to want to get those in out of your flex spot so that you have that open for Sunday's and Monday's game.
We're going to get right into it with a really big news update here. Just coming out today, Jalen Ramsey has been traded to the LA Rams. So they are now the LA Jalen Ramseys. Don't even need to comment on that. It's a bad one. I know it is. Let's just move on.
I liked it.
Big move for him. Big move for both teams, really. I mean, the Jags are pulling in some really big 2 first-rounders. I think it's a 3rd-rounder or a 4th-rounder, one of the 2. But a big haul for Ramsey.
It was two firsts and a 4th.
That's what it was.
So a 2020 first, a 2021 first, and a 2021 4th.
Big haul.
And also a guarantee that Ramsey's back is good to go.
Ramsey, have you seen the memes of Steve Nash standing up out of the of the wheelchair from WCW?
Oh, no.
He's got the blanket over his legs, and he's got a fake leg sitting up, throws the blanket off, and he just stands up. There's memes going out there saying when Ramsey joins the Rams this week, he just stands out of the wheelchair completely fine.
He needed a backiotomy. Now he got a tradeotomy.
He got
What?
a tradio to me. Look it up. It's in the dictionary. Dummy. Get into it. Big move for him, though. I mean, this is a team that's looking for a presence on defense, really. I mean, Marcus Peters has let some big plays slip through his hands. Coincidentally, he was traded as well to the Ravens today. So the Rams subtract Marcus Peters, bring in Jalen Ramsey, one of, if not the best corner in the league. Him and Stephon Gilmore, 1-2 right there. It's pretty easy, 1A, 1B. But this is a big move for them. I mean, they've allowed some big plays to happen. They've allowed a lot of teams to get yardage on them pretty easily. So we'll see what it does for their defense. I mean, having Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, two of the best players at their respective positions, is incredible.
And Aqib Talib. So
exactly.
You've got Talib, Ramsey, and Aaron Donald, and that's nasty. So now if they could just put it together, now if we could just figure out how to protect Jared Goff, they might actually be good.
I mean, if Jared Goff would stop eating lasagna all day long.
He's eating Stouffer's. That's the problem.
Yes, nothing but Stouffer's.
Yeah,
every day, before, after, during games. He just needs to get that fixed. He needs to stop eating lasagna.
You ever get on that food and you're just like, as you're eating it, you're like, God, this is not good for me. I just feel the terribleness as you're ingesting it. But at the same time, you're kind of stuck on it. So you get it a couple times a week and you're just on it because you can't stop. It's just so A, it's either convenient, or B, it's good and convenient. But then as you're eating it, you're just basically poisoning your body.
Yeah, can we talk about Stouffer's for a second? Because I love
is it real?
Stouffer's
is
lasagna.
It real food? That's my question. Is it real food?
Stouffer's lasagna, real food. That's what's
3D
actually
printed.
written on the box. Not a sponsor.
It's 3D printed food.
Yeah, I love it. I don't care. It's terrible for me. Okay. I love to eat it. I love to consume it. I love to bathe in it? ? Let's move on. It's getting weird. Another big news segment here. Ryan Tannehill has been named the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Ew. I mean, it was already looking ugly with Mariota.
I love it.
Do you?
I love it, but not because I love it.
Well, now
I love it. I love it because it's going to create a lot of really great defensive matchups for fantasy.
I mean, who's a better starter right now then? Tannehill or Rosen?
Oh my God. Tannehill.
By a mile?
I don't even.
I mean, they're both terrible.
Well, of course. Well, what's funny is they're both Dolphins at one point. So
exactly. That's actually where the comparison was coming from. So
yeah, they're not good. So there's that part. So that's good news for fantasy, which we'll talk about now.
I'm ready to go in, Coach. Just give me a chance. I know there's a lot riding on it, but it's all psychological.
Well, that was a quick segment change.
Zing.
All right, BroMob, let's get
right
into it. All right, we're getting way too off in this episode. It's terrible already. Let's get into our start and sits, BroMob. As always, we're going to start with them quarterbacks. Brian, unlike most weeks, I'm going to let you take it off, man. Go ahead.
Ooh, man. I must have done something right.
So I'm taking off.
So my quarterback start this week is he's a little bit of a homer. I live in Arizona. It's nice and sunny here. I'm feeling the 2-game winning streak for these guys, and I think they make it 3. Chad,
I do too.
So I'm gonna say start Kyler Murray against the New York Giants this week. They're on the road in New York. Look, Murray's a must start this week, Chad. Giants secondary is one of the worst secondaries in the league. We've seen this all season, and we just saw what Murray can do against a really bad secondary last week in the Atlanta Falcons. So why would you not? If you look, Murray's owned in nearly every league.
Yeah.
If you got him, he's a start this week. He's gonna run, he's gonna pass, he's gonna catch, he's gonna serve the hot dogs, he's going to burp the babies and drink the beer. So
wow, that sounds like a great day.
It's gonna be a good day.
Not only is he a good start, he's also a good dad. That's what it sounds like to me.
He'd make a good one. So get this guy in your lineup. He's gonna have a good week.
So I actually had Kyler Murray as my start, Brian, but I saw a matchup that I liked a little bit better. My start of the week is Dak Prescott against the Eagles. Look, Kirk Cousins looked like an all-pro quarterback against this defense. I mean, and he's not. Let's not pretend like he is. This defense is decimated with injuries in the secondary. It might be the worst, if not bottom 3 in the league right now. Dak Prescott has the Dallas Cowboys right now at 3-3. Carson Wentz coincidentally also has their team at 3-3. I see a shootout in the making. This is 2 teams fighting for first place in the division. It's early on. This is one of those type of make it or break it type of games to continue on in the season. They'll meet each other again towards the end here, but this is a really important game for both of them. And I see Dak Prescott, and this is a really big if. If Amari Cooper plays, having a massive game. If he doesn't play, Dak Prescott might have a mediocre-ish game. But I love Dak Prescott this week against the Eagles.
So the only thing that worries me about Dak is if Tyron Smith doesn't play.
True.
That's my only. I don't care. Anybody else in the line cannot play. But if Tyron Smith doesn't play, the offense is different. They're just different.
It is, isn't it? I mean, it's interesting to see how different it is. And it's not just Tyron Smith, right? I mean, we're missing out on. I say we because we're Dallas Cowboys fans. So shoot me. I chose Dak. I don't care. La'el Collins also being out is hurting us as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we got both of our. And La'el Collins was putting together an All-Pro season. I mean, he was looking good. Both tackles out. The offensive line doesn't look the same without either one of them.
No, it doesn't. And so I think that means, for me personally, I temper my expectations a little bit with Dak and also a little bit with Zeke this week. And so, but I get it. I mean, I think there's some opportunities in the deep game. I really think even if Amari doesn't play, I'll tell you who I really like in this game is I really like Gallup in this game. I think he can have a really big game. So even if Amari plays, I think he still has a pretty good game. So, I like that. Chad, so let's move on to sits. My quarterback sit this week is Matthew Stafford, quarterback of the Lions, going up against the Minnesota Vikings. They're at home, and, my only concern here is this. I pumped the brakes for a second on this one. I almost didn't roll with it because that game against the Packers, the Lions can take that one of two ways. It can be kind of the game that knocks them down and they stay down, or it's the game that lights a fire. And so I'm looking to see, I'm curious how they're going to respond. But I mean, look, it's not like they drew an easy matchup coming in this week. They got Minnesota. That defense is lights out. Stafford, had a pretty bad game against Green Bay in terms of fantasy, and Minnesota's defense ranks about 2 spots higher in toughness than Green Bay's does. So I think it's more of the same, probably a lower output for Matt Stafford this week. So I'm going to recommend sit.
Tough guy status high for this defense.
Hey, tough guy.
Hey, tough guy. What are you talking about here? BroMob, my sit for the week, Phillip Rivers. Look, he's been struggling, and I see it continuing, man. This offensive line, we're talking about bad offensive lines. This one just isn't good. It's so bad that Anthony Lynn has had to come out and say, look, we have what we have. We're going to have to try and deal with it all season. It's not good.
Do you think Rivers continues his last the way the game ended this past week and just grabs other players on the team and just pushes them around?
Yes.
Did you see that after the game?
Yes.
He grabbed like one of the guys like by the shirt. Hey, you tough guy. Do you want to talk smack? So,
Hey.
I just looked at him like an old man. It was funny.
Throwing fisticuffs at people.
Yep.
Yes, this is the type of game that frustrates Rivers because the Titans defense, look, they're good. They have a good pass rush, and they have one of the better full secondaries in the league. I say full because it's not really gotten any huge standout players at each position, but they all work really well together. They allow very few yardage through the air to the receivers for the quarterback, and I see that kind of continuing this week, and Phillip Rivers continually show that frustration, the whole team being frustrated, really, and having a tough game. Keep Phillip Rivers out of the lineup if you can, BroMob. All right, Brian, let's get into our running backs. Who you got starting this week?
Do you think Matthew Berry has a cone head?
Not the question I asked, but I do like that question. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, hold on. Is it a cone head? Or is it an egghead?
Now I'm going to go with a cone head. He is a cone head. Anyway, so my starting running back this week is Tevin Coleman, running back of the 49ers, going up against Washington Redskins. The Redskins are the 5th worst in the league against the running back in fantasy this year, Chad. I think Tevin Coleman has another big night. He had 18 carries last week.
Yep.
I think he has another big game. And so
17
I
the week
like this.
before.
Yeah, I like this matchup. He seems like they're going to use him as a bell cow.
Yeah. I
As
mean,
long
they're
as
going
he's
to run the
healthy.
ball 30 times a week, it looks like, with him and Burrito. So,
Look, they're paying him.
yeah.
Of all the running backs on the roster right now that are healthy, he's I believe, the highest paid. So again, we preach this all the time: follow the money. He's the guy you want to own on that offense right now.
Second highest to Jerick McKinnon, I believe. But McKinnon's,
right.
I mean, we know the story.
IR.
BroMob, who I got starting this week, Phillip Lindsay against the Chiefs. I would start anybody against the Chiefs defense. I mean, literally, I just had a conversation with a guy today talking about how I think me, 5'6", tiny as can be, beer gut, could run against the Chiefs defense. It's terrible. Brian, don't snarl your nose at me. I know.
Well,
I know it's not plausible, but I'm trying to get a point. Across.
Here's the problem with that. Could you run against them? No, but I get it. But you'd also tear like 6 muscles as soon as you took your first stride. So,
oh yeah. The moment I get on the field, I mean, I'm tearing muscles thinking about it. It hurts.
Yeah. Medic, bring beer.
Listen, Carlos Hyde, he's not a good running back by any means. He's working pretty well with that Houston team right now. The O-line has improved, but they're still not one of the best in the league. He was able to just absolutely gouge them for over 100 yards, a touchdown. And this is kind of the storyline. I think in the last 3 weeks, they've allowed 100-yard rushers against them. This defense is hurting, and I see that continuing with a team that loves to run the ball, to keep mistakes down. So they got Phillip Lindsay, Royce Freeman kind of doing the 1-2 punch there. It's a really good one. And Lindsay being the flashy back that can get some big yardage, get used in the pass game and all over. I really like Lindsay this week, especially if the Chiefs try to run the score up. They're pretty cheap this week. If they try to run the score up against this team, Lindsay's going to get used in the passing game. He's going to get his stride going. He's going to be looking good this week.
Yeah, I like that. I agree. I think the Chiefs defense is, I don't know what happened. Anyway,
bad.
My sit at quarterback, at running back this week is, and I might get a little flack for this one because of the name, Le'Veon Bell, New York Jets running back, going up against the Patriots. Jets are home, and I get it. It's Lev Bell. How could you sit him? Here's the thing, though. Of all the players on that team, Bill Belichick is game planning to take Lev Bell away. He always takes the best player away. And make no mistake, that player this week is Lev Bell on that offense. So, I mean, Lev Bell, granted, they had no Sam Darnold in this game, in the last game during week 3, but he had 18 carries for 35 yards. That's going to happen again. I mean, he may double that output. Maybe he has 18 carries for 70 yards or something like that. But he's going to be, his output, he's not going to have a big game. So if you have better options, he's a guy that, even though the name is hard to put on your bench, you might want to consider it.
Yeah, I hear you there. I actually talk about him later in this episode, Brian. I don't know if I'd classify him myself as a full-blown sit, but it's because it's hard, right? If you have Lev Bell, you don't have many other options over him. But as I said, I'll allude to the fact that I mentioned him later in this episode. You can kind of hear the tone of what I think about him. But for this week, I have David Montgomery as a sit. Look, he hasn't been looking too good. He's been saved by a couple touchdowns, putting together some reasonable flex plays in the last few weeks that he's been playing. But this week, he's going against New Orleans. The rookie will continue to see some of the... I mean, I feel like the last 3 games that they've had have been some of the best rushing defenses in the league. And it doesn't change anything with New Orleans this week. It's another tough defense. They stop the run really well. So I see struggles for David Montgomery at the line of scrimmage often. He might get used 18 carries in this game, but again, like you said, Brian, 18 for 35 for Le'Veon Bell. I could see a similar output for David Montgomery this week against New Orleans. The only saving grace would be a touchdown, and I do not see him getting that touchdown in this game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. What about so let's move on to wide receivers, Chad. What do you have going for wide receiver?
So I mentioned it before. I love, and this is BroMob, this is my solid gold start of the week, Amari Cooper against the Eagles, if he's healthy. Same thing I said about Dak Prescott. This is a terrible secondary, one of the worst in the league, if not the worst. And Cooper should absolutely demolish this defense so long as he's healthy in this game. I love the matchup. If you got him, I see him as a wide receiver, a top 5 option at the position this week. Let's say he's not healthy though, BroMob. Another really good option, Cooper Kupp against Atlanta. I mean, if the Eagles aren't the worst, Atlanta is certainly the worst right next to him. And Cooper Kupp, look, this team is struggling to find receivers to throw to that aren't named Cooper Kupp. It seems every week this guy's getting targeted numerous times. Last week he didn't have a great output for you, but he was targeted a lot in the game. It's just a really tough 49ers defense that's been stopping pretty much every offense that's coming to town there. But I love Cooper Kupp against Atlanta as well. So Amari Cooper, so long as he's healthy, is the solid gold star of the week. Otherwise, I like Cooper Kupp.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think Amari Cooper plays. I think he's out.
Okay.
That's my gut. I don't have any information other than it's just my gut. My gut tells me he doesn't play this week.
Solid advice, Brian.
Yep, you're welcome. Anyway, my start at wide receiver this week, Chad, I'm going to go a different direction in a different conference. T.Y. Hilton, Colts wide receiver going up against Houston Texans. Houston secondary isn't the best. They're giving up the 7th most yards to wide receiver position this year. And I think the average yards per game is like in the 180s. So they're giving away an average of 180 yards per game to the wide receivers. So I like T.Y. Hilton in this game. They're coming off a bye week. He should have had an additional week there to get healthy and really be fresh. I think he has a big game against the Texans in the game that really could be a shootout in Indy.
Yeah, I like T.Y. Hilton a lot this week too, Brian. Let's get into a player that I don't like though, Keenan Allen. And I'm actually going to talk about this a little bit more here. I don't just like him for this matchup, BroMob. I talked about Phillip Rivers going against the Titans already. This is a really tough defense. They only allow around 5 yards per reception. But Keenan Allen going forward, I'm actually a little worried about. Hunter Henry is back, and we saw the production of what Keenan Allen can do when Hunter Henry's on the field. When Hunter Henry's on the field, he's going to gobble up the middle of the field catches, and he's going to gobble up the end zone catches. Both of those are Keenan Allen, like not the end zone so much, that's Mike Williams' realm, but Keenan Allen gets used in the middle of the field quite often. Now that there's another threat there, it kind of splits up his target share, right? I'm a little scared if I'm a Keenan Allen owner, and I might even think about trying to trade him right now because he might not put up wide receiver 1 numbers going forward. It might be high-end wide receiver 2 numbers with Hunter Henry on the field. I'm a little scared. But let's get into this week just because we are talking about week 7. Look, Titans defense for real. 5 yards per reception. Keenan Allen might only be catching 5-yard passes, dink and dunk passes all over the place because Phillip Rivers is going to be running for his life. But it's not going to be enough. He's not going to get a touchdown in this one. I think those go to Hunter Henry or Mike Williams, which only puts together a probably 60-yard outing, maybe 7 catches. Maybe flex worthy for Keenan Allen, but definitely not wide receiver 1 like you're hoping for.
Yeah, I like the Keenan Allen pick. I'll talk about it a little bit here later in the pod too as well, Chad. My sit this week is wide receiver Tyreek Hill of the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going up against Denver in Denver, so they're going up a mile high here. And Hill's coming off a really big game. He has historically been one of those up and down players. And typically after a big game like this, he would have a little bit of a trough game. But look, they're on the road traveling to Denver. The altitude is a real thing, and then you've got a defense that's no joke. I said it, I think last week or the week before. I'm done doubting this defense. They're for real, and I think Mahomes is gonna have another tough game this week. And I think Tyreek Hill can have a game, but it's gonna be it will be because he takes a 70-yard touchdown to the house, right? It's not going to be because he has one of these 200-yard, 8 catches and 2 touchdown games. It's just I just don't see that game coming here.
Yeah, I don't see a 32% target share type of game
no.
out of him, or 40%, something crazy offensive share where he gets used in the rushing game, he gets used in the passing game, he gets punt returns. I just don't see it for him either, Brian. I agree. This is a tough matchup. Denver's for real. It might have been a different story if it was in Kansas City, but the fact that they're in Mile High it's a different setting. I don't like it. All right, let's get into our tight ends, Brian. BroMob, this is another one of those ones. I'm taking a risk here because he might not be healthy for the game. Coming off a sprained MCL, Evan Ingram going against Arizona. Look, this is a huge matchup. If he can just come back from the injury, I expect him to beast out like he was earlier in the season. As a matter of fact, he could be number 1, if not number 2 tight end this week if he comes back healthy. Mainly due to the fact that I see this is a Kyler Murray versus Daniel Jones bout, right? I mean, it's the rookie versus the rookie. They're going to want to see who's better. it might become a shootout type of game. Evan Ingram being one of their bigger weapons, him and Golden Tate could have a really good game. But here, BroMob, in case he's not healthy, I got one for you. Of course, you're starting this guy, but this week you're definitely starting him. Zach Ertz against Dallas. Dallas just can't cover the tight end, man. They're struggling at the safety position. Zach Ertz historically destroys the Cowboys, to be honest. I mean, he usually has a touchdown against them every time he plays against them. Carson Wentz needs to start connecting with them a little bit more to get this offense rolling on the Eagles side. And I think this is the week he does it. Zach Ertz has a big game, and if you have Evan Ingram healthy this week, he'll have a big game too. I like both of them.
Yeah, Chad. My start is one of the guys that I loved during the draft this year, and I wanted him in a lot of leagues, and I got him in a couple. Tight end Hunter Henry, almost said San Diego, LA Chargers, going up on the road against the Titans. We talked about it before, Chad. This Titans secondary is real. They're really good. They seem to do a lot of the little things right. But the one thing they don't do well is guard the tight end.
Yep.
They've been very poor at that this year. And I see a game where Allen is probably phased out of this game. Mike Williams is gobbled up, and I think there's going to be a lot of attention on Hunter Henry again this week. I think he has. I really think he's going to have a great game. So I like Hunter Henry this week as a guy that Phillip Rivers has to look to a lot in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I like him a lot too, Brian. Same reasons, but
yeah,
player I don't like, Darren Waller. Look, I get it. He's getting massive target share on this offense. I believe he's top 3 in the tight end position for target share and targets coming his way. But Green Bay's for real at the tight end position. They Savage, the rookie there, putting together not just like a defensive player of the year. I mean, I know he's like top 5 right now in the votings right now, but he's also putting together a Pro Bowl caliber season at the safety position. He's not allowing any tight ends to really gobble him up. Darren Waller looks good, but I think he gets stopped in this one. He might get a bunch of targets, but not many catches actually coming out of them. So Darren Waller, if you can sit him, I would definitely be doing so.
Yeah, Chad. My sit this week at tight end is Eric Ebron. He's averaged about 2 catches a game this year, and going up against the Houston Texans, who are one of the best in the league against the tight end. They're not giving up a ton of yards. 34.8 yards per game this week is what the Houston Texans bring to town as far as what they're allowing to the tight end position. I don't see Eric Ebron getting much in this game. I think he may be a 1-catch guy in this game, honestly.
Could be.
So I would sit. I think sitting Eric Ebron is a must.
I'm reading your note right now. Does this say they are an amoeba to the tight end position?
Yeah. So I started to go that route because.
What does that mean?
Well, an amoeba kind of, if you know what an amoeba is, it kind of gobbles up other things. So that it kind of basically grabs it and pulls other things into itself. So that's what their defense does to the tight end position. They just amoeba the position.
They're a hungry amoeba.
They're a tight end amoeba.
Leave the big words to the dictionaries. All right. Keep those out of. Go ahead. Erase it. Get that out of there. You
I
fixed
corrected
the spelling.
That
helped too.
I'm all in on the amoeba, dude. Tight end amoeba.
Let's finish this up, BroMob. Defenses, Brian. Who you got starting for defense?
Defense this week is there's a lot of good options. I'll be honest with you, but Chargers against the Titans, or on the road against the Titans, I should say. We talked about it earlier in the pod, Chad. Ryan Tannehill is the starting quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. Get your six picks. Get your pick sixes ready. And I think the Chargers defense is in really a position where it could be top 5 this week. So I really like the LA Chargers against the Titans this week.
The only quarterback I can think of that throws more pick sixes is Blake Bortles. I like this matchup too.
Where's Bortles at? Come on. Get Bortles in the game.
Where's my Bortles?
I need some Bortles.
Bills defense, BroMob. My start of the week at defense, going against none other than Miami. Yes, it's the easy pick, but they're available on league's waiver wires. If you can pick them up, go pick them up. Because listen, Miami doesn't even know who their starting quarterback's going to be mid-game. They might switch it to Fitzpatrick. They might switch it over to Uncle Rico. We have no idea. Because of that, the Bills are absolutely just going to dominate this offense, and have a great game. Don't overthink this. Just get them in there.
Yeah, do it. I like that, Chad. Yeah, so I was actually going to go Bills defense, and then I saw you had them, so I pivoted, which I'm glad I did because I actually think the Chargers somehow, some way, have a better game. But let's go to sits. So my sitting defense this week are this is a tough one, but I believe it in my bones, man. Like, I just have this eerie feels. Bears defense at home against the Saints. Ooh. I can't speak today. Having a little speech impairment. Need some more of this delicious beer.
Amoeba.
I need an amoeba is what I need. Yeah,
that's what you need.
Get the good. It stole all my good speech.
It's gonna gobble up all the speeches.
All that's left is the bad speech. I just don't like this game. I think the Saints are the real deal. They're uber talented. And again, I think the Bears defense is uber talented. I don't trust any defense against the Saints this year so far. And so I really see this as a game where a lot of people drafted the Bears defense and they haven't really been what they were last year. And so from a fantasy standpoint.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that the Arizona sun has not only scorched the hair off the top of your head, Brian, but it has also scorched the brains out of it as well. I disagree with this one, but I guess we'll see.
Why would you disagree? Why do you disagree?
The Bears defense, is not much different from last year. They're still pretty stout. Khalil Mack still exists in that defense, so they're still nasty as can be.
They've had two good games against Washington and Kirk Cousins. So you had Case Keenum and Kirk Cousins. Other than that, that's really, I mean, look, 14 points against Green Bay. Big whoop-de-doo.
What?
The big whoop-de-doo. Okay. And then you had 4 points against the Denver Broncos. The Denver freaking Broncos, dude. Then they had 20 points against Washington, 16 against Minnesota. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. And then
I just hear top-end defensive scores every time you're talking right now. You're crazy, dude.
Three out of 5 games. Three out of 5 games, and they're only against garbage teams. Washington and at the time Minnesota was junk. Like Kirk Cousins was throwing 10 times a game. So, they held Minnesota to 6 points. Good, congratulations. Every team did. Okay, I don't want to hear it. Kirk Cousins couldn't throw to save his life until they basically said, "Hey, we're considering leaving you in the trash can before we exit the stadium."
I think you're absolutely crazy.
Then they go overseas in Oakland. And Oakland blasts the doors off of them with 24 points. 24 points. They score. They give 3 points against the Oakland Raiders.
They were
now they're
in
on bye,
London,
and they're
it's
now
different
they're on bye.
Traveling
and they're playing the
overseas
Saints.
changes teams. I'm not falling for it. I'm BroMob. I want you to know that I am 100% not on Brian's side on this one.
I see a rough. I don't see a negative. I see a single digit point game, 9 or less.
And I see a brainless, hairless, clueless guy on the other side of my screen right now. So let's get into a real sit, BroMob. Seahawks defense against Baltimore. Look, I hate starting any defense against Baltimore. Really, it's always tough. This offense is way too pesky, led by one of the best mobile, if not the best mobile quarterback of this century. You heard that, Cam Newton. You heard it right. Lamar Jackson's better at running the ball than you are. This offense is just way too unpredictable because of that. He can throw the ball deep. He can throw it at any time to his tight end. He can hold it. He can give it to Mark Ingram. Defenses can't catch on to it. It's just too tough. Seahawks defense, keep him on the bench, or if they're on the waivers, don't even think about picking him up. I'm not starting him this week.
How about this? You just dogged me for putting myself out there a bit and saying sit the Bears defense, and then you have the gall, sir, to roll a defense out that is only 35% owned in ESPN leagues.
Yes.
Oh, you should sit a defense that is actually on the waiver wire anyway. Sit them because they've had one game in double-digit points. Look at this, 8-5-4, and then they had a 15 against the Cardinals, -2-6. Yeah, you should sit them because they're terrible.
Yeah. Giving good advice.
Yeah.
Brian, how many teams are on bye this week?
I don't know.
Not even thinking about it. I believe there's 4 teams on bye this week. there's not many options at defense to choose from, like in starting caliber ways. The Seahawks are out there on waiver wires. People might be thinking about picking them up to stream them. I'm saying do not. Keep them sat for those 30% of people that have them. And for the other people that don't have them, don't think about going to pick them up and starting them. Yeah, silence. That's all I need to hear from you right now. Good advice coming at you, BroMob. Let's move on.
Sleepers.
Just so happen to have a guy falling asleep after my hot take of sitting Seattle defense this coming week. BroMob sleepers for the week. Royce Freeman. I love Phil Lindsay this week, and I also love Royce Freeman going against Kansas City. If the game can stay close, if this defense can keep it reined in, can keep Patrick Mahomes, who looks a little hobbled to be honest, can keep him honest in this game, Royce Freeman's going to get a whole bunch of touches. He's going to get a lot of that grunt work, and I see it to be good enough for at least 85 yards and possibly a touchdown in this one. Definitely sleeper status, and I see him as a possible flex play for you this week.
Yeah, so I've got in the sleeper category this week, I've got one Christian Kirk, wide receiver of the Arizona Cardinals, if he plays. So this is kind of the same boat as Amari. He practiced a little bit last week, but they ended up not playing him. So I think he actually plays this week, Chad. They're on the road against the Giants, and I just think big things can happen here. I think Kirk coming back probably has a pretty good game against one of the worst secondaries in the league.
Yeah, I see that too, Brian. I like the Christian Kirk take as well. Let's get into our busts.
Good.
Busts.
All right. Yeah, that deep voice gets me every time. I'm sorry. Brian, you talked about him earlier being a sit. I mentioned that it might be hard to sit him. So, BroMob, I'm saying Le'Veon Bell being a bust this week against New England. He's not going to score great points for you. Your saving grace would be a touchdown in this game, but outside of that, he's not going to get the yardage. And he might not even get that much in the passing game either. Sam Darnold's back. I get it. Their offense looked much improved I wouldn't even say much improved. It just looked improved against Dallas from what it was looking like the worst offense in the league. But this is just going to be an ugly game for Le'Veon Bell. Temper expectations. If you can, sit him. If you can't, try to off-put it with somebody that could blow up this week. Just offset the terrible outing that's going to happen here.
Yeah, Chad, my bus pick, one of my bus picks this week is wide receiver DJ Shark for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to be on the road against the Bengals. Bengals are allowing the third fewest points to the wide receiver position this year, and I don't see anything changing here against the Jaguars. I think Shark has a pretty rough game, and I think also the quarterback, our guy, the Shoe, man. I think the Shoe's going to have a rough game. So. I actually kind of see like a very defensive, hard-hitting, running style of a game here against the Bengals. Defensive matchup.
Yeah, I can see that too. And Fournette, I hate him, but I could definitely see him having a good game this week against the Bengals. This is a terrible rushing defense. It's kind of like the opposite of what the Eagles are right now, where the Eagles have a great rushing defense, terrible secondary. The Bengals have a pretty damn good secondary and a terrible rushing defense. So, I'm with you. DJ Chark, I hate him this week. So, yep, you heard me right.
What was that?
You never heard of the Baby Shark do song?
No.
Well, now, BroMob, tell Brian what's up. It's a very annoying song. It's for children. It's on YouTube. Look it up. My second bust for the week, Stephon Diggs going against Detroit. I'm not expecting another huge game, another huge output. Brian is drinking beer, confused at the DJ Chark reference. I'm going to continue Stephon Diggs. Look, he had a massive game last week. He switches. He's drinking both beer and wine at the moment. What?
I'm sophisticated, but I'm also a genius.
Of course. What? All right. Okay. Stephon Diggs. This is a really good Detroit defense. It's one of the better man coverage defenses in the league. We saw that against Green Bay this past week. They had the one mistake, the one big play to The Packers there, the touchdown that I do not believe should have been a touchdown. It looked like it was 1 yard short. But anyway, Stephon Diggs going to struggle. They're going to look to shut down one of these wide receivers in this game. And I definitely see them looking to shut down the one that just went absolutely highlight reel nutty last week. Stephon Diggs going to have himself a bad game. Don't expect it again.
I'll wrap this up, Chad, with you mentioned him earlier. Keenan Allen going up against the Titans. Again, look, Rivers going to be under pressure all night, and I think that's just going to be a rough game for Allen. I think he gets the targets in this game. I think he's going to be thrown to. I just don't see a lot of accuracy. I think there's going to be a lot of balls in the dirt or over his head or whatnot, just not on target. And so I see a really rough game for Keenan Allen and even Phillip Rivers. So yeah. I think the only guy that's startable on the Chargers offense this week is Hunter Henry.
Yeah, I agree.
Not startable. I mean, I want to be very specific. It's highly unlikely you're sitting Keenan Allen. Like I get it. The name is you have to start him. I just think you got to temper your expectations a bit. It's unlikely he's going to have one of those massive games, and he's been struggling these last few weeks while the offensive line has been a mess.
Yeah, he's been struggling dramatically. And Phillip Rivers is one of those guys that has a weird throw to begin with. He's got that sidearm. It almost looks like an Uncle Rico throw. That sidearm throw gets batted down at the line a lot. This is a bad offensive line. He's struggling with his passes. So we might see a lot of dink and dunk type of throws, and I can see a lot of those targets going to Keenan Allen, like you said, but just not good accuracy. I agree, Brian. All right, let's get into our final segment here and talk about our streaming options.
This week's streamers.
Starting off with our quarterbacks, BroMob, as always. I've got Josh Allen this week going against Miami. Look, it's Miami. They're super easy to play against. This is a given start. Just put them in. Don't overthink this. Go pick them up. Start them. And I'll be honest, if you're looking to stream a wide receiver, which we're not going to get into here, but I'm gonna mention one, John Brown, as a flex play this week. I like him a lot. I see a good start here. Terry McLaurin just absolutely ripped them apart. John Brown, really fast, could outrun most of that defense, and Josh Allen's going to be throwing bombs all day. I like that start.
Yeah, I almost think you start any quarterback against the Miami Dolphins.
Yes.
I mean, the only quarterback I think I would not start against Miami is Miami's quarterback, Josh Rosen.
He can't even throw against his own team. Probably Ryan Tannehill as well. This is just another bad quarterback. But yeah, I see what you're talking about.
I think
anybody start him against Miami. I like it too. Ryan, who you got for your quarterback?
I think I would start Ryan Tannehill, by the way. Just going to put that out there. That's how bad I think this Miami team is. Anyway,
bad.
So my start this week is Ryan Tannehill. No, I'm just kidding. Daniel Jones, the rookie sensation, Flaming Cheetos Daniel Jones, going up against the Arizona. I'm going to have a different nickname for him every week.
Every week you have a different nickname for Daniel Jones.
This week it's Flaming Cheetos Daniel Jones, going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Terrible secondary. They're just as bad as the Giants secondary are. So look, here's the deal. Daniel Jones, he's not owned in many leagues, so he's going to be out there on the waivers. If you need a quarterback fill in, this is a great start, I think, this week in a game that honestly, this could be a shootout game.
It could be.
I mean, Daniel Jones and Kyler Murray might go off for like a combined 740 yards.
Mm-hmm. What? Yes.
Yeah, specifically 743 yards in 18 scrambling
rushing yards
attempts. I want to get an exact stat line in case it happens.
The best fantasy output by two quarterbacks ever in a game. Okay.
9 million yards. So yeah, get your Daniel Jones ready. I think this is gonna be a good game for him.
All right, tight ends. I've got Gerald Everett. Listen, I understand I had a mistake last week, BroMob. But I like him this week against Atlanta because I've mentioned it already. Atlanta's kind of bad. I mean they're really bad. They've allowed some no-name tight ends to actually score some big points in them. Jordan Akins had a huge game against them for Houston. Even last week, the Cardinals were able to score 10 points at the tight end position against them. This defense is terrible. I expect Everett to get more targets, more looks this week than he did last week, and because of that, a better outing.
So just a quick timeout. I swear it won't be long. There is at the St. Louis Cardinals and the Washington Nationals game. They're in Washington. The crowd is drenched in red, and there's one guy in the crowd wearing a full body blue shark suit. So it is a legitimate shark suit, and I literally don't know why. So
You can see him from space.
ESPN just showed it, and I almost lost it. So
Why?
I again don't know. No one knows, Chad. All right, my tight end stream this week. I really like this. As a matter of fact, Chad, I like it so much
Oh, no.
that it is my rock solid, gold plated,
Ew.
diamond crested stream of the week. Jimmy Graham.
Ew.
This is a juicy one. Jimmy Graham, tight end for the Green Bay Packers
Explain
against
yourself.
the Oakland Raiders. Here the deal. Singular, the deal.
Hear the deal.
Hear
Just
it.
hear it
Just
out.
Listen to it. Listen to it in your earlobe. There is a severe lack of weapons on this offense right now. You have Adams, who's likely out. You have Geronimo Allison now out. The Raiders are giving up tons of points to the tight end position this year. I think Jimmy Graham is specifically game planned in this game and heavily targeted. And I actually see him getting in the paint. So do it.
Did I just see you do little
BroMob.
finger?
Yes. There's a lot of hand motions. One day, BroMob, we will have video for the pod on YouTube, and you will be able to see all the hand things that I do during a podcast.
Way too much of it.
It's incredible is what it is.
I think he doesn't understand that people can't see us, and so I think he's trying to actually show people what he's talking about, not understanding that nobody can see. This is what he does on phone calls too, BroMob, so it's okay. He does. I don't even know what that was. He's planting a seed. That's what it was.
The seed gets planted.
Unbelievable. All right, BroMob, let's get into our last stream of the week here. We got our defenses. This is actually incredible to me. So the 49ers defense against Washington is my stream of the week. You might be thinking, Chad, that's crazy. How are they a stream? People got to own them, right? They're only owned in 58.7% of ESPN leagues right now. I have no idea how. This is an elite defense that gets sacks. It's up there in turnovers with New England. It's a top 4 turnover team. It's crazy to me that they're not owned in more leagues. But if they're out there, go get this team. They're one of the most dominant defenses in the league, going up against Case Keenum and 56-year-old Adrian Peterson. Start them. Get them in there.
All right. I'm ready. I'm ready for my stream for defense.
Please tell me.
Jacksonville Jaguars defense against the Cincinnati Bengals. I really don't know why I'm reading it like this. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm in. Jaguars D, Bengals.
It does not sound like you're in.
Get your look. Here's why the Jaguars. Although they're a good defense, they just gave away their best corner. He hasn't played the last couple weeks anyway. They've had a very heavy lack of turnovers over the last couple weeks. By the way, I'm going to pause. That seems really weird to say a heavy lack of. So basically none. That's what I'm trying to say. They've had a heavy lack of nothing. So, but I do think here comes Andy Dalton. Right as scheduled. And he's like, yeah, I think I'll change that one. And I don't know why Andy Dalton sounds like that, but
It sounds
there you
like
go.
a
So-
bookkeeper from a 1970 movie. This is
I
what all
need your
bookkeepers sound
Q2
like.
tax estimate, please. So, look, Andy Dalton comes to town. Here we go. I think pick 6. I'm going to call
Question
it.
mark?
I think pick
Fumble
I think
6? Sack fumble 6?
Ooh, that's a bold move, Cotton.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like the pick 6 better. All right, so I like that. That's I think that's how we roll.
You like
Jaguars
that,
D.
Kirk Cousins? You like that? You like that? All right, this episode's been an absolute bust itself. All right, BroMob, well, that's going to do it for this week's shows. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday and Wednesday to stay up to date on the fantasy football world and to gather any insights on how to dominate your fantasy football leagues.
Absolutely. And also make sure you check out keytothetitle.com. That's where we put all of our streaming picks, our sleepers, our busts. We have strength of schedule that will actually start looking into the playoff season here very soon. So that you can kind of make moves, stuff like that, trade recommendations, all that good stuff. Keytothetitle.com. Create a free account and get in there. We usually have our picks updated by the end of the day, Wednesday, early Thursday.
If you're watching this on YouTube, know that we're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, soon to be iHeartRadio. We're gonna be everywhere, BroMob. Go check us out if you want to listen to us on your commute. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FF Bros Podcast, and be sure to check out our website, thefantasyfootballbros.com, for all kinds of articles, rankings, and so much more. See you next week, BroMob.
Bye, BroMob. Get those dubs.